Here we are again. Great to see a lot of familiar faces and also great to see some new ones as well. Frankly, the challenges that we tried to face last year has not exactly disappeared. Recent developments point to challenging times, conflicts, massive numbers of refugees, slower growth in Asia, and stagnation and declining growth in previous hotspots. But there are, of course, also new opportunities in Africa, in new technologies, and so on. But it all underlines that we live in an unpredictable world. That is the climate that we have to navigate in, especially in the maritime industry. The changeability is therefore a recurring factor in this year's Danish Maritime Forum. So the task remains, can we lift our shared responsibility to shape the future of the industry? I hope so, and I think that we must succeed in doing so. And we can. When I look around this room, I see a lot of decision makers, leaders, experts, opinion shapers from all corners of the maritime world. Together we can set the direction for unleashing the potential of the global maritime industry and influence what the industry should look like in 2030. Those of you who were present here last October probably remember being asked from the podium whether you would still be active by that time in 2030. I didn't see many hands, and I also have to admit I didn't raise my own. We have therefore this year included some of next generation's maritime leaders in this year's forum, and a special warm welcome to all of you as well. Don't feel frightened to speak up. We also need your voice. As returners from last year will know, we are in a different setting. Last year it was rough and raw. This year we have chosen the new cruise terminals of Copenhagen, so I think it's fair to say that we have actually upgraded you. The setting is still kind of rough, the weather too, as you've seen, and that's good, because for the next 30 hours, we are not going to be on a cruise, any of us, or if we pretend that we are on a cruise, then you will be the hard-working crew and not the vacation passengers. Because it is by sharing your inner thoughts with the rest of us, by moving out of your comfort zone, by laying your cards on the table, you can benefit and be inspired, and we can create something mind-blowing together. And please keep in mind that the forum is following the Chatham House rules. That means that we are all free to report from the discussions in a general matter, but not make direct quotations or reveal any identities. And this year we have also turned the normal order of things in a traditional conference program upside down. So you will not meet the ministers until after lunch, and the Crown Prince will not address you until the last session today, where we are looking at the what if session about future scenarios. So the scene and the setting is different from last year, but fortunately, our host is the same, just to give you a little bit of comfort and continuity, and because he did a terrific job last year, along with the facilitators from ValueWeb. So please welcome Chris Luebkeman from Arup Foresight. Chris will be the one who will take us through everything nicely over the next 30 hours. Welcome, and Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. It is great to be back. I think last year the stormy seas were not quite as evident as they are now. I think if we all look back over the past year, things were not quite the same smooth sailing as we had expected. One of the things that I like to say is change is constant, but the context of change is always variable. And one of the things that we learned last time that together we can understand that context a lot better than in our individual silos. I'd like to ask, how many of you were here last year? And if you were here last year, I want you actually to stand up. So I want you to stand up and say, look around. And first of all, I want to thank you on behalf of the Danish Maritime Forum, from all of us, for making the commitment to come back for 2 days. This is a big commitment, so thank you for that very much. Well done. And guess what's coming now? All of those who are here for the first time, could you please stand up? That means you must have stood one of these times. So look at you. Again, thank you from the Danish Maritime Forum and from all of us for committing to come for these 2 days, for the belief that coming together brings us more than staying apart. And I'd also like for those who were here last year to look and see who's here for the first time. See some of these faces, reach out to them during this process, because as you know, those who were here last year, this is different than your normal conference. So let's help them get through this as you did last year in a positive way. So thank you very much. There you go. Excellent. So that is really wonderful to see everybody here together. So let me show you very quickly a map. This is our journey map. And as all of you know, you begin in a port and you end in a port. And this is our journey as well. We're beginning right now, we will end back here. And in between, along this journey, there are many stops along the way. Now, you don't see these yet. I'll show you the stops a little bit later. But this has been a very highly organized process for you. It's very iterative, it's very creative, and the idea is that you have a chance to meet and discuss issues together in a way that hopefully you will find very, very exciting. Now, the next 2 days, we have an amazing agenda. I'm an engineer first, and so I can't wait to have the Suez and Panama Canal leaders on stage. I really am excited. I've seen one of them, not both of them, but it's a great honor for all of us to have that happen. This is going to be here a little bit later. We have the opera for dinner tonight, an amazing building, an amazing place, and a wonderful host. And tomorrow, some fireside chats. We have a guest from the Iranian shipping world, a name that all of you, I'm sure, will want to chat with, to meet, as well as many others with systemic insights on a one-on-one or a very small basis. So I think that's going to be quite exciting. If we look at this morning when I woke up in the IHT, there's a ship. I thought how incredibly appropriate that on the morning of this industry's we have that. So last year you talked about doubling of growth. This has been dynamic, unpredictable, and last night some of you were saying to me, I can't believe that oil prices are about the same where they were 30 years ago. Who would have thought last year that this would be the case now? Couldn't imagine. Incentives for going green, are they still real? Do we have that moral imperative with climate change coming in our faces? Shipping rates, massive volatility. These are lots of things which you face every day, and we will be talking about that over the next couple of days. One thing that we also know, cooperation is good because you are one of the most vital industries that we can imagine. So last year, we created this report for you. How many of you have looked at it? Now, all of your hands should go up. Okay, if you didn't, that was your first piece of homework, to check out last year's report. I mean, it was really quite excellent. Some of the insights from that, I'm going to read what you said that we need to be doing this year. There's a need to raise public awareness of the importance and value of the maritime industry. We move the world. The maritime industry should start paying closer attention to the outside world. So we have brought the outside world to you. Later in the day, we're going to hear some what-ifs. Some people who will bring some viewpoints that you probably haven't heard before. Great potential to increase the role and positive impact of the maritime industry. The world doesn't know. And probably most important, the thing we took really to heart, is the collaboration across the entire industry is necessary to unleash that full potential. And so today and tomorrow is really around the systems, about working together. And this is right in line with the water industry, the energy industry, looking at how they work together more as a system rather than the individual parts to create optimizing synergies. I think that's really crucial. And last, what you said, really most important, a proactive approach by industry leaders. This is what you said last year was important for you. And this is probably why you're here again today, and those who have not been here before, I hope, have chosen to come. Henrik Madsen said, the difference between an opportunity and a risk is when you discover it. If we are more systematic, we can turn risks into opportunities. And I think all of us in this room believe that. Last year, the conclusions were really around 6 topics: transportation, infrastructure, unlocking growth in Africa, financing growth, the future of our workforce, this human capital, new technology and innovation, and sustainable growth. Those were the things which we really focused on last year. Now, this year, our objectives of the day are to generate some concrete ideas. So by the end of tomorrow, you will have created some ideas which I think you will want to implement. That is what our goal and our hope is. And I think we can do it. We have an incredible journey for you. There are some patterns which we saw last year, right? And these are going to be some lenses you're going to work on this afternoon. You're going to put these sort of topics in your minds. You're going to choose a place to go. Governance, emerging markets, human capital, innovation, and the image of the industry. The image. Right? How can that industry work together? The governance that rules, and we're going to hear from the Secretary General in just a minute. Emerging markets, where are they? What is the meaning of these, and how can we capitalize this for those economies to grow? The human capital, can we really collaborate to get the best out of our people? Innovation is the byword. I heard if we don't have innovation, then we will perish. And of course, that image, if we don't have a great image, then who's going to come and join us? It's really quite crucial. So what we're going to do now, I'm very, 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 very excited and very pleased to be able to look back. We're going to start where we ended last time. We ended last year with the Secretary General on stage giving some reflections, and we're going to start at the same place, as in a good journey. So in many ways, he does not really need an introduction for all of you in the room, and yet Mr. Sekimizu started off as an engineer, which is dear to me, and became very, very entwined in making the industry the best it could be. And I think, without any further ado, if I could ask the Secretary General to join me on the stage, it would be a great honor. Now,
Chris,
great to see you again.
good to see you.
Thank you. Do you want to sit down, or are you okay standing?
Well, whatever.
All right.
Format,
So,
no
first of all,
problem.
we'll just get. So, why did you come back? You're a busy man.
Yes, my schedule is incredible, but originally I was not planning to come. But taking a look at the stormy weather and the big ship now coming in, and I thought it's a good idea for me to come again to encourage the organizer to continue this road. Chris, probably I have been invited for many conferences, like Posidonia, North Shipping, Maritime Cyprus, Panama Maritime, and all others, and also award presentation sessions. And taking into account all those events, I think this forum is very unique. In my view, you have a really true possibility to continue to engage with the leaders within the maritime sectors. I think this is the forum of leaders from shipping industries, leaders from the government, and we talk about the important things. The format is, in my view, very innovative, and in a way, the people are asked to get away or usual sort of fashion of business, and out of box, and breaking the boxes, and talk about important things, and ensure interaction. I think this is a really great idea, and I think that Denmark is hosting this. I really appreciate Danish Shipowners Association and the government of Denmark to continue to do that. I really encourage. So that is the reason why I wanted to organize us to continue this forum. So that is probably the most important reason for me to come
Thank you very much. It wasn't for the beautiful weather in that case, or the Danish design, which is I really like. But that's good. I mean, that's really fantastic. So if you look back over the past year, what would you say, in your view, have been some of the most important things which have occurred, just sort of reflecting, looking back to look forward?
I don't belong to a real shipping industry. I have been working for this maritime community as a civil servant. I'm sitting, and not sitting, but running the International Maritime Organization, but away from real development. But as far as I see, the still shipping industry is facing rough seas and many challenges. And after the 2008 Lehman crisis and 2009 global economic contraction, I think shipping industry is still, in my term, in adjustment period. But this is not new. If you look back at the history of international shipping, for example, 1970s, at the beginning of 1970s, you enjoyed huge expansion of the fleet, the good economy, but that encountered first and second oil crisis, 1973 and 78. And you recall the long period of recession. And finally, the shipping industry took another pace of increase in the middle of the 1990s. And then the last decade was a huge expansion. So it's a long process. So still, I think the shipping industry is in a difficult situation, but I think this is not new. And I'm sure shipping will survive. The reason is the world economy required shipping industry. The world required seaborne trade. The shipping industry is really indispensable to the world. So therefore, you don't need to worry about for the future. As far as economy will grow, and the shipping industry will grow. So therefore, I'm very optimistic that the shipping industry will survive, of course, and you will enjoy a good future, serving international community and the world.
Thank you. I think all of us are glad to hear that we're optimistic for the future, but I'm sure there's some big challenges which you could also see, or some things on the agenda which you might be able to share with us when we look ahead. When we look forward, this coming couple of years, are there any big challenges or things on your agenda which you might share with us?
Well, if I touch upon my agenda or agenda of International Maritime Organization, before I touch upon the future challenges, I just want to flag out the significant development at International Maritime Organization. The last year, and including this year, we have managed to ensure that we will move into a new mode of operation at International Maritime Organization. That is compulsory IMO member states audit. And this is, so to say, not close to your heart in the shipping industry. But in my view, this is a significant development. Because at the end, I think that you rely on the good governance, and then the flag state administration, the port state control, and responsibility of coastal state. I think we need to really ensure the good governance from the member government. And this has been a long way. We have taken already 15 years. We moved into a voluntary system, and finally, we decided to amend number of IMO conventions. And last year, calmly, quietly, the member government accepted through the tacit acceptance procedure. So from next year, we will move into a compulsory IMO member state audit. In the field of, let's say, shipping-related legislation, I think one of the important development was adoption of a polar code. You know, the Arctic regions, because of melting ice, it is possible to navigate. And IMO decided to establish international regulations to provide the basis for Arctic navigation. That was Polar Code. I think that was also a remarkable achievement in the International Maritime Organization. The other development includes, for example, we decided to carry on the study for availability of low sulfur fuel. And I think now we are moving into the low sulfur shipping. But the important thing is that we need to ensure that in 2020, we will not encounter the shortages of fuel. So it is important to carry on the study on availability of low sulfur fuel. And other field, we have debated on how to move into implementation of ballast water management convention. And I realized that the shipping industry had a serious concern about implementation of ballast water management convention. In the 2004 convention was adopted, and already more than 10 years passed. Then now we have to move into the implementation, and we need to establish a good set of sort of measures on how to implement. And we have taken into account the views from the shipping industry, and we have responded to every one of those issues. And in my view, now IMO is ready to move into implementation. And many other things. But one thing, Chris, you mentioned about image of shipping. I think this is a very important issue. The image, if you have a bad situation and a bad image, that's fine. If you have a good, truly good development, and if you have a bad image, I think we have a serious concern. For example, we are talking about the shortages of excellent seafarers to run the ships for the future. We need to generate the young generation to come into the maritime field. So I think it is important to generate a good image in the general public and in particular younger generation. So that is the reason why IMO, together with my staff, we have launched a new project, the IMO Maritime Ambassador Scheme. The reason is, the scheme is, we asked member government to appoint their own maritime ambassadors. But not similar to the usual ambassadors. The ambassadors should work in their own country and try to approach, for example, schoolboys and schoolgirls. And if you go to the university, probably it is a little bit too late. You have to go down, say, the 10 to 15 years of boys, schoolboys, and talk about.
And schoolgirls.
Schoolgirls as well. Right. So this is our new project, a little bit away from our regular activities. And so far, the 16 maritime ambassadors has been appointed. And I'm looking forward to the Danish maritime ambassadors.
Fantastic. Well, you have some more to say. That's fantastic. So wait, just a second. So we've got to the Polar Code, compulsory audits, some new amendments, low sulfur fuel, ballast water, maritime ambassadors. Do you have time to think, or are you just running all the time?
I have only 24 hours to spend 7 days a week.
That's quite...
But I enjoyed every moment of my life as a Secretary General.
No, that's fantastic. Well, we're very, very pleased and honored that you could join us here. Is there anything else you'd like to say to this group before we head off into our journey along our path to our next port?
The one thing I think, again, that's touching upon the image of the shipping. In terms of the very important conference coming ahead of everybody in Paris, COP21, they will establish new mechanism through which they will discuss the new measures for technology and capacity building and finance. And nobody knows what will be the new mechanism. It is really important issues. And in my view, the image of shipping industry is important when we address that serious mechanism. But you know, we have decided to impose stringent requirement to reduce CO2 emission, at least from new vessel under the EEDI. And SEMP will handle the emission level of existing vessel. We have achieved a significant achievement to reduce CO2 emissions. I think we need to stand up and indicate to the world, shipping industry and IMO has decided very significant measures. And only International Maritime Organization have made so far. And I think that fact has to be really indicated to the world. In my view, for example, 2030, 15 years ahead, I think we can reduce significant amount. In my term, that's 30% per ship by the 2030. That was what I thought is possible. But IMO have to debate that. This year, we debated based on the proposal from the Marshall Islands and Vanuatu, and we decided not to decide at that time. I think that matter will remain in the agenda of IMO. But in order to establish a very clear image that IMO and shipping industry is doing the right thing, I think the shipping industry should take sort of a leadership. The IMO is IMO. We may establish some sort of compulsory measures in order to ensure the level playing field. But the real thing is development in the actual shipping companies, the shipping industries. They are free to take a sort of proactive action. And I checked yesterday the website of the two large major companies, one from Japan, another one from Denmark. And NYK's website clearly indicated that they have achieved already 18% reduction against the value of 2007. Well, this has been a significant achievement already. But that came short to my expectation. The NYK didn't make any clear target. Then I moved to the Maersk. And the Maersk has provided the clear target. Let's say 60% reduction by the year 2020. And I'm sure they have already made a significant amount of reduction as a target. I think this is a way forward. What I expect from the shipping industry is not to wait for decision of IMO in order to ensure the level playing field. I think each company, each sector will have a really important opportunity to show up what you can, what you are aiming at. I think that will clearly turn the image of shipping industry. I think that will help for everybody. So I really expect that before we are moving into low carbon and low sulfur shipping, I think the important thing is shipping industry will take initiative and leadership.
Thank you for those words, Secretary General, on that charge as we head towards COP21 and a profitable next decade. So with that, let me say thank you very much for making time to come, and let us give him a welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Okay, now, all of you have a piece of paper underneath your chair. I need you to grab that piece of paper. Everybody in here, there are no exceptions. If you consider yourself a staff member, you still have to do this, all right? I want you to reach down. The color doesn't matter, so don't worry about that. Now, what I would like for you to do is to put that paper behind your back. Now, this is a test of how limber you are, right? Now, I've got some nerve damage in my left arm, so I can't do it. I want you to take that behind. You're going to need both arms, right? So if you have a phone in your hand, get rid of it, all right? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to see if you can't tear that piece of paper into the shape of an elephant, all right? Now, you don't have a piece of paper. Come on there, don't. Everyone's got to take that and see if you can't take that. See, now that's so simple. We all know what Dumbo looks like. Or maybe not Dumbo. You pick an elephant, you know, whether it's Asian or African. Come on. And as soon as you've ripped out that elephant, I want you to hold it up. Right? Now remember, I have an agenda which I'm supposed to be keeping to, so you can't take too long on your elephant ripping. I see some paper falling, some deep concentration. Trying to wonder, yeah. We're going to have some pretty funky elephants, I think. All right, here we go. Whoa, here we go. Hold them up. There we go. We have a tractor. We have a we have a rhinoceros. Excellent. That's excellent. Look at you. Did you cheat? How did you do that? You must have little kids. Okay, there we go. Wonderful. Here, keep. Here, hold them up. Come on. Just pick one of your sides of your piece of paper and hang it up there. There you go. All right? All right. I think just about Now, all we need, everyone does need to have a piece of paper in their hand, okay? Now wait, the good news is you're not going to put your name on it. It's okay, right? That's all right. Wonderful. Some of these are really fantastic. An aardvark, there we go. And Beavis the Butthead, there's over there. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. All right. We all have, you know the famous phrase, the elephant in the room? The things that nobody wants to talk about, but we all know we need to talk about. I want you to take the pen, which is down on the floor, and I'd like for you to write a word, not a phrase, not a paragraph. And what is that elephant in the room? What is the one issue that, if not addressed, will slow down our progress as an industry, as a profitable, sustainable, economic engine for the world? The world's red blood cells, the world's veins. This is who you are, right? What is what's that elephant in the room? And you don't have to share it yet with me. Just write a word down. And then we're gonna collect them. We're gonna have you leave them on your chairs when you get to the next phase. But I want you just to write that word down. Everyone written some down? Okay. So we're gonna leave that on the chair. All right. We're gonna just keep that moment. We're gonna pause as we get going. And I want to show you what our plan is. So just hold it. I'm going to hold it, right? And if we can have the next slide, Aldo, the detailed map of where we're heading. As I promised you before, we have a plan for you. And every one of you, as captains of the industry, have a plan in your mind for your company, for your country, for your sector. If you didn't, you wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't be here if you were not successful at what you do. And we have created this map. And this is an eye test. You're not intended to be able to read it, just to let you know. We do have a process for you in hand, and we're very excited about it. And as we go through, we'll be explaining the little bits. All of you should have picked up a sticker on the way in. Does anyone not pick up a little sticker on the way in? Okay, a couple of you. Right behind, this is called the knowledge wall, right behind here. If you can just, when you're done, head over there and pick up that sticker, because in a couple of seconds, in about less than a minute, we're all going to get up and file through that little door on the right-hand side to the other side of the terminal, where we have another room. We're going to call that the work room. This is our gathering room. That's the work room. And so we're going to head over there. And it's a really exciting journey. We're going to be having, as you heard, we're going to, excuse me, we're hearing from different individuals. I am personally really excited to listen to and to interact with some of these individuals who are coming. Now, we believe in a very iterative process. So we have some wonderful facilitators who are going to be helping you through this process. If you have questions, you're welcome to ask them at any time. Because this is valuable time for all of us. We don't want you to sit there and go, this is frustrating. We want you to be having a good time, a challenging time, and also working hard. All right? This is not your typical conference. And so there'll be one person for every 2 workplaces over there, and please ask them about the process. You will be going now, in just a couple of seconds, to the place where you have chosen your if you will, your place in the industry, what you've chosen with that. Now, as we do this, there are some rules of engagement that are quite important to us. Number 1, they're not up here, just me. Suspend judgment and keep an open mind. Please keep an open mind. All right, this is really important. You're here because you're good, but listen. Be hard on ideas, but soft on people. If you hear an idea which you feel is really inconsequent, then challenge it, but be open to the individual who's saying it. Listening is not waiting to speak. So when you're listening, listen with intent. When you speak, speak with intent. And when you speak, there are no speeches, please, all right? No speeches. Please be sharp, be clear, And we want to encourage everyone to speak. There's a wonderful TED Talk about introverts and the importance of hearing the introvert. Not everyone is an extrovert, right? So it's really important we let everyone speak and use the walls to document your thoughts, to document your work, so we can give it back to you, right? So you can carry that with you. So it's really important to go ahead and grab a marker and scribble up there. And finally, but probably most importantly, if you can't have fun with a problem, you will never solve it, right? And this is very important for us, that this should be challenging and fun for you. So we're going to head over there with this framing thought. What will it take to optimize our industry? We all know that we can get more out of it. You wouldn't be here if you didn't believe that. We know we can improve. We know we have to improve. So, what can we do to do that? This is our charge, to ensure the profitability, reduce the global impact, keep it sustainable, grow the economies, grow our businesses. So, now we're going to head over here, across to the other side, to find your part of that system that you chose, and then we're going to get going. So with that, and I will apologize now if I rudely interrupt your conversations the whole day, because I will be doing it. All right, I will do that, but it's not personal. Okay. All right. So with that, I will thank you, and let's unleash that potential in that workroom.